Oh, Jesus Christ! Bloody hell, look at that, guys. It's a freaking brown snake. These things are flippin' deadly. My God, just see him go that? Oh, Jesus Christ. Bloody hell. Phew. There's his hole, look at that. Oh, hell. Gee whiz, he's just come out of hibernation. Unbelievable.
Hey everybody, this is DK with Adventures in Dirt, and welcome back to another episode of Digger Spotlight. Hey, it's great to see you. Thanks for showing up and supporting the channel and supporting the show. And if you didn't recognize it, boy, that was an eastern brown snake, the second most deadliest snake in the world, happened to run up upon our guest tonight. And I'm telling you, talk about a guest. I've got a great guest with us tonight. I was really excited when he said, yeah, that he would do the show. He's all the way from down under, that's right. So their time difference is quite a bit. It's actually Saturday for him right now at 1 p.m. While we're here in the States, here in Colorado, I'm at 7 p.m. But hey, it's great to see a lot of you show up here in the chat. Already some good conversation going on. I want to say hey to my moderator, 5280 Adventures. Everyone say hey to Tony. And if you get a chance, go ahead and check out his channel as well. But hey, good to see a bunch of people showing up here tonight. Tonight's guest, I'm telling you, Diggers Down Under, Neil Colston, the comic chef, has been on YouTube for quite a while. He's been on YouTube for about 7 years. He's always putting out some great videos. He's got a great video style about how he edits his videos together. But hey, don't take my word for it. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Let's say hello to Neil Colston. Neil Colston, everyone. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you going, guys? Hey, viewers.
Awesome. Neil, thanks for being my guest here on Digger Spotlight tonight. I appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure. Friend.
All right. Do you happen to have your chat window open over there?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Oh, let's see who was here. Let's see if we can shout some people out here that showed up here. I'll scroll up. Who was the first one to come in tonight? Lloyd Halsell. Halsell? Hey there, buddy.
Lloyd.
Yeah. Do you know Lloyd?
No, I don't know Lloyd, but I do now.
All
hey,
right.
Lloyd.
Yeah. Unknown Detecting. Good to see you. Doug from Digging Deep. What's up, Doug? How you doing? Who else you seeing in there?
Unknown Detecting.
Yeah.
Hey, how you going? And Finders Keepers.
Yeah.
Hey there,
channel.
Finders Keepers.
Yeah.
Welcome. Mr. Terry Solomon.
Yeah.
Welcome to the house.
All right. Dirt Therapy Down Under. Woohoo! Great to see you, bud. Thanks for showing up.
Size Detecting. Welcome in.
Awesome. Papa Spin. Good to see you.
Yeah, we got. Did we have Dirt Therapy Down Under? Dirt Therapy.
Oh, that sounds great. I need some of that, boy. It's too cold here in Colorado. I haven't had a chance to get out lately. I could use some of that dirt therapy. Dog is my co-pirate. Nathan, how you doing? Thanks for showing up. Mark, the Metal Detective. Awesome.
Yeah. 5280.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm definitely going to do a video about that one. Amazing stuff. Yeah, the Lou, D711. How you doing, bud? Good to see you tonight. Well, hey, look, Neil, hey, thanks, like I said, thanks for coming on, boy, I'm telling you. So tell us a little bit about you and where you're from. Tell us a little about where you're from there in Australia.
Well, I'm from Wangaratta region in Australia, the northeast of Victoria. A chef. I've been a chef for 30 odd years and detecting since I watched a video of actually, well, a movie when I was a young lad, 7 years old. I went outside, done some excavating. I loved it. And I found a gold ring. And I've been hooked ever since. And as soon as I could afford a metal detector, I worked all summer as a young fella. Bought myself my first machine. I couldn't remember the name of it. I don't even think it had a name. But, yeah, I was hooked from then on as a young fella.
Oh, wow.
So 40 years, I guess, really. Yeah.
That's
I've
amazing.
been out in the field.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not tired of it, boy. You still are going strong. You're finding so many cool things. I really love that about your channel. You really are on the goods, and your style of filming is really, really great.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably do over 30 hours of detecting a week.
Well, I'm
really,
sure. I'm sure this show is cutting into some of that, since it's
It is.
Saturday for you at 1 o'clock right now. So I
Yeah.
apologize, but do appreciate it. Absolutely.
I'm going out straight after the show.
I wish you could take us with you. We could do this live. That would be awesome. Maybe someday we'll
Yeah,
figure that out.
we can do that. We can do that.
Yeah, awesome. So, what part of Australia? You're down in Victoria area, huh?
Yeah, Victoria, northeast is gold country, and we have a lot of alluvial gold in it around here. It's really cool.
Yeah, I've always
And
heard about those gold fields of Australia. Is that where you're at, or is that a different area? What they consider the gold fields?
yeah, the main gold field, the main triangle, as it's known, the Golden Triangle, is over Bendigo ways, and that's a couple 100 kilometres away. But we're still in gold country because the triangle is rather big. It's big.
Yeah,
Some of the best gold in the world's found around here.
yeah. I've seen pictures and I've watched videos, and it just, here in Colorado we find the real small flower gold,
Yeah,
and seeing some of those nuggets that are just sitting up there on top of the ground every now and then. You see the videos of that. I'm sure it's not every day, but boy, I tell you, sure is impressive.
they certainly get found. Yeah, back in 1869, a couple of fellas found one 73 kilograms. Yeah, welcome stranger. Pretty amazing nugget. It was amazing.
Is that what they call it, the welcome stranger?
The welcome stranger
I'll
was
have,
just under the surface.
I'll have to look that one up. That is just amazing. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
Tony, can you imagine out there? He's my digging partner. Shoot,
yeah.
just amazing. So how much of that gold have you captured? Have you well, maybe you don't want to tell me, but have you had a chance to get your hands on some of it, Neil?
Yeah, I found a little bit. I found a little bit.
Awesome. So why YouTube? Why all of a sudden start doing things on YouTube? Did it come way before? Well, you've been metal detecting for an awful long time, so yeah.
Yeah.
Why YouTube?
Well, and I've been using cameras since basically since their insertion into everything, and so like we're talking back to the 80s and filming what I do, exploring, adventuring, uh, detecting everything. And the cameras have changed so much, but only really in the last few years, cameras have gone so much further, and which we can really tell. I mean, from the videos to 4K, and then 8K will be out soon.
Yeah.
And I just love to share what I do, and so I've been doing that always. Always wanted to get onto a show and being a chef, go out and cook and on sites and show people around and like catch fish and hunt deer or whatever, and then show when I'm exploring. And no one ever took it up, so I thought, well, maybe I'll just do it myself.
So that's what started it. And that's been how long ago now? About 7 years?
Yeah, good
Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah. I got to watching some of your old stuff earlier today, and it was pretty cool. I like seeing the evolution of what a channel does and the content you make,
Yes,
Um,
it's an evolution.
yeah. So let's talk about the comic chef. I'm a big foodie. I don't consider myself a chef by any stretch of the mean, but I sure love to cook, and I sure love to feed people and see that enjoyment. I'm on a competition barbecue team, and I'm really into food, and so I'm definitely not a chef. But tell me about this comic chef thing of yours.
Yeah, so originally I just thought being a chef, I wasn't sure what to call myself, and I just love making people laugh and smile. And I just, all the restaurants, hotels, and everything I've worked in over the years, I've had every scallywag you can imagine whisper in my ear, a joke or two. And I've just had this ability to remember them all. And so that being said, I just love to tell a joke. So I thought, well, the comic chef, I'm always making people laugh.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and so that's where it came from. I just didn't have any better ideas at the time, and it stuck.
And how long ago did you start that?
2009, so actually 10 years.
Yeah. And did you do that on video first? Were you touting yourself as the comic chef first before you started doing detecting videos, or was that always part of it?
It was always part of it.
Yeah. What kind of cooking do you do? All kinds? Is there
Everything.
everything?
Everything. Yeah.
All Metal Mike wanted to know, what's Neil's signature meal to make?
Oh. One of my favorites, probably the Polo Avarti, which is a chicken breast fillet stuffed with Avarti cheese, wrapped with smoky ham, and you oven roast that and put over a peach coulis over the top.
Yeah.
And that's just a lovely dish with a panache of vegetables on the side, which is mixed vegetables, a little bit of sweet soy sauce, and maybe some scallop potatoes, something
Yeah.
like that.
Wow. Yeah, how many are out there hungry now? Every time you start talking about food, right? I tell you, you make a pretty mean looking full English breakfast too from some of the videos I've watched it with you.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
looks
I love it.
looks great.
Food's good. We're all got to eat.
Yeah, we all have to eat. That's one thing that people always do. They'll always eat. I was talking to my buddy. I'm into this barbecue thing, and we're actually me and this buddy of mine. We're in business together for a while, and when we would go and we would meet with other clients and we would be in a business setting and we'd be meeting with these people, everyone has their guard up. Who they're trying to sell me something, they're trying to solicit my business. Everyone's got their guard up. But boy, you start talking about barbecue and those walls just fall. And we used to start all our meetings that way. Hey, okay, let's talk a little bit about business and then let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about barbecue.
Barbecue is awesome.
It will, yeah. It'll always bring those walls down.
Yeah, big fan of barbecue.
Well, awesome. So, what machine are you swinging these days?
I swing the CDX 3030, and I have a couple of those over the back there, and I have two because it's a lot quicker to instead of changing coils, I just change the machine, but also I love to share it so much that I have a spare machine, so anybody wants to tag along with a hunt with me, they can grab my spare machine and come for a swing.
Yeah. How often does that happen?
Quite often.
When people tag along? Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime they want.
Yeah.
More than welcome. Love sharing.
Kind of a recent development. I don't know how long it's been now. Maybe you can tell me, but you've kind of been going out a lot with a digging partner of yours. Can you tell me about him?
Yeah. Philip Bullivan. Yeah. Bullant. He's my friend, my digging buddy, Bullant. Yeah, he's a legend. He couldn't make it today. He wanted to be here, but he got stuck at work. Maybe next time. But yeah, great friend. Yeah, we met out on the field a few years ago. I was swinging away, and he saw me out there passing by in his car. He came out and introduced himself, and we've been detecting buddies ever since.
No kidding. Knew you from YouTube.
Yeah, here from YouTube.
Oh, my goodness. Crazy. How crazy is that? It's like, hey, I know that guy. I recognize him, That's awesome. It's a great community. One thing I haven't been in it that long, not as long as you have, but the one thing I have learned is that it's a pretty great community. It's filled with some pretty good people, and that's a really cool story. I'm glad that he was able to do that, come out and say hello, and that's awesome.
Well, yeah, you can't. You're driving down the road and you see someone swinging out in the paddock, and you got to go and say good day.
Yeah. Yeah, around here, absolutely. I don't see them that often. It seems like, they're few and far between, but every time I do, we went to a swim beach one time, and we went out there and saw the guy swinging, and we're like, you're kidding. So we walked over and said hello to him and asked him to come join our treasure hunting club. Do you guys have treasure hunting clubs out there in Australia? And if so, do you belong to any of them?
I wish, but not really, no. Which is sad because I'd be a member of all of them.
Yeah. What about What about historical societies?
Sorry?
What about historical societies?
Yeah, we've got plenty of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty of historical societies.
So what's the area that you go hunt in the most? Like, is it a really old area? Like, can you describe the area without being too specific, of course? Kind of give us the history of it?
Yeah, so I do around here, again, being gold country, we've got, when Australia was first settled hundreds of years ago, everybody basically came here straight for the gold. And so I go out in Bullant and we explore the old sites where things were, where there was mining going on and pubs and hotels, even the old schools, recreation reserves, all these places that are actually completely forgotten. That's all it is forest, just forest and open plains. And so we do the history, the research, find out where they were, exactly where they were, and then we go and do some hunting on them, and then the ground tells us all the secrets. Like the archaeologists and they can tell us where everything was, but the metal detectors, they tell the stories.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. What? That's cool. I was looking at the chat, and if you're just joining us here tonight, hey, this is Digger Spotlight. I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt, and our guest tonight is Neil Colston, Diggers Down Under and the comic chef out of Australia. Great to have him on. Great to see you all here in the chat. And if you have a question, pay attention to that text running right down there. If you guys type @Adventures in Dirt and then your question, it kind of highlights it for me in the chat. I've seen some questions through here, and it's really hard for me to kind of pick them out all the time. I'll try my best to get to them, but that really highlights it for me in the chat on my end, what I see. I know you guys won't see it, but I'll see it. It'll be all lit up, and I'll know that you have a question. Gone Diggin' wants to know, Neil, can you explain your coil selection? And can you talk about, do you favor one coil over the others?
Yeah, so with the CDX 3030, my favorite coil is the 17-inch. And why is that? Because out on the fields, you're going over such a large area. And if you use a small coil, you end up going in sort of, a lot of people go in a Z pattern if you don't stagger your steps. But with the 17-inch coil, you can actually go at a walking pace and cover all the ground. And you grid it out, and you do that, and you will, when you're finished, you've completely done the site. You actually don't need to go back there again. Whereas, if you just go out there cherry picking, you can go back to the same site 100 times and you'll still never find all the coins. So the 17-inch coil on big open areas, absolutely fantastic. And let alone, it goes the deepest. So you don't miss any of those little puppies.
Yeah. No, you don't want to miss them. The stuff you find is absolutely incredible. Do you keep everything in a storeroom somewhere, or do you just
I have display cases and
warehouses?
And five safes, 5 vault.
I was gonna say you must have warehouses with the kind of stuff you find.
Yeah, got 5 really big. Yeah.
I tell you, I feature you a lot on my weekly dirt shirt. We're weekly dirt show, and all the time, I'm always selecting from your channel, and it's hard. It's hard to put a little highlight reel together of your finds because you find so much stuff.
Thanks, mate.
It is a compliment. It's just tough.
Thank you, friend. Honestly, you really do find it seems it's over 1,000 silvers a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, as long as you've been metal detecting, I'm sure you've been through other machines besides the 3030.
Oh, definitely.
Do you?
I also use the Nocta Impact, the macro multi cruiser, the macro Gold, and a Fisher.
Yeah.
It's just that the CDX is my go-to.
Do you have any of your earlier machines that you had coming up over the past number of years that you got rid of that you regret? That you wish, I wish I had that one back.
No, it's a stepping stone. It's once they've had their time, I move on. I'm quite happy to. It's just like my cameras, I upgrade my cameras and all that. It's just an ongoing process every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what Fisher do you have?
I've got it's my older one. It's the one I've actually kept. It's just here, the Fisher. The Fisher M scope.
Oh, the M scope. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Somebody in the chat asked, let me find it here. What about gold nuggets? What do you recommend as far as coil wise and machine wise for hunting gold nuggets?
Well, some of the best machines are out there is the STC 2300. It's a fantastic machine. It picks up all the sub-gram golds, because as you mentioned, you had a lot of flower gold in your area. And if you've got any little pickers and stuff like that, we're talking sub-grams like 0.4, 0.5, as in 0.04, 0.05, really tiny. The STC 2300 will pick them up without a problem. Wow. I have a good friend, Farmo59. You can check him out, Farmo59 on YouTube. And he's just the bomb with the machine. Fantastic. But then, of course, you want to go the big stuff. You have to get the big brother, which is the 7000, which will absolutely smash it and get you all gold. But you're talking, nearly $10,000. It's a lot of outlay. So you've got to be a pretty keen treasure hunter.
Yeah.
Besides that, but the macro gold over there, great machine. I can show you that.
Yeah, sure.
Macro gold.
Yeah, a question came from Desert Detector. Thanks, man. That was a great question. I appreciate it.
Yeah, macro gold, great machine. Waterproof, wireless headphones, nice and light, not over expensive. You're talking around $1,300 Australian. And so, great machine, nice little coil. You go over the mullikeeps and stuff like that, where the guys have been. Because, again, back in the day, they used gravity eyesight and dirty water. We've got technology. And so you'll pick up all the bits of gold that they missed. And don't get me wrong, people still find big nuggets that they've missed. And so the great little machine, fantastic. Macro gold, fantastic.
That's awesome. Jim from Coils to the Soil wants to know, do you ever hunt any beaches out there?
Yes, we've got a lot of beaches in Australia. They go all the way around. I don't get a lot of time to go to the beaches, but they're all the way around. So, but when I get there, certainly. The wonderful thing about beaches is they're always getting replenished, as a lot of people don't necessarily realise, because out where I go, just around here, you might find a 200-year-old coin.
Yeah.
But once it's found, it's not going to get back there. But on the beaches, those gold rings and chains, because people just keep on forgetting to take your jewellery off. Don't wear it down the beach. Actually do, because we find it.
Right.
But yeah, your body shrinks a little bit, your rings fall off and your chains come off, and then the ocean works the same as the gold pan, and like the treasure coast, and after a storm it'll line all that gold, and that's where the coins they work their way along the bottom of the ocean and eventually get to the rim, like the edge of the gold pan, which is on the tide line. And that's where we go and detect and find all the good stuff.
Do you do that much? Do you do that very often? I see a lot of your videos. You're out in these fields, you're out in these areas, but how about beach detecting? Do you do much?
Yeah, no, not a real lot, no. But I still love it. I just prefer to get out in the field.
Right,
I prefer to find centuries-old coins than a gold ring, I guess.
Yeah.
Gold rings are wonderful, but they haven't got the history.
Yeah, my wife really likes them. She does. Every time I go out, every time I go hunting, she goes, "Find me a ring." I said, "All right, I'll see you later." Deal. Yeah. Hey, Missouri Mike would like to know: have you ever tried the Equinox, or do any of your mates swing an Equinox?
Yeah, we got an Equinox 800, and good machine. Yeah. Anything you'd like to know about it, there, mate?
Yeah, Mike, if you have any specific questions about it, let them know. I think just a lot of people are trying that nowadays. It seems to be, the big hot detector these days, and a lot of people are jumping on it and using it and finding some great success with it.
And it's a great machine. It's really fast recovery. What I find, though, is the CDX in comparison, only as a comparison, is because the CDX has a much wider range on the VDI readings. Because the Knox, it goes down like around the 16 to 22 sort of area. And so you've got a lot of targets that are really, really close. And that's my point, is the CDX are a lot more spread out. So you can get a threepence with the CDX that's 24, which is a 50%er. And so there, it's also telling me what it is, as opposed to a 40, which is a pure sterling silver threepence, the same coin, just pure sterling silver. So they're a lot further apart, where with the Knox, you'll get goldies, as MD Melbourne finds all the time, and pennies, and that they'll be like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. They're all so close. It's a lot harder for a detectorist to be able to call out his finds. Whereas the CDX, they're so spread out, you can do that.
Yeah.
So if I get a 1243 on the CDX, I can go, that's a sterling silver florin.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, Metallic Archaeology wants to know. He wants to know if nugget hunting is on the Gold Coast. On the Golden Coast is still hot today, and if somebody wanted to come to Australia and do that now, how hard would it be for somebody to come in and do some nugget shooting over there on the Golden Coast?
Yeah, the Golden Coast. It's really, there's not so much gold. He's talking about the Gold Coast or the Golden Coast.
He said Golden Coast, but.
Yeah, because it's mainly a tourist area, so you actually get a lot of people smashing that with detectors.
Do you?
It's pretty constant, yeah.
Yeah. Just send Neil a message and he'll tell you where to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when you're heading out, just get a hold of him.
All you have to do is tell me where you live, and I'll tell you where to go.
That's awesome.
Seriously, you send me an email, tell me where you live, and I'll check it out for you, because my first and best hobby is research. Yeah. So you tell me where you live, and I'll have a look around your area through maps and so forth, check out the history, and I'll tell you where I think would be a really good spot for you to find some stuff.
Isn't that the greatest part of the hobby?
Sure.
The research, yeah. I mean, I tell you, I didn't think that was going to be the case when I got into the hobby, but boy, the research has really become one of my favorite parts of it. More so than finding the stuff. I mean, that's sort of the cherry on top, right? When you do all the research and you find out these areas and that aren't there anymore, and you find these areas and you go there and you're able to discover something that's still left behind, it's pretty magical.
Yeah, and in a hunt I just recently did in the last week and a half, I'd done some research, and the old pub was there 170 years ago. And so I say that in the video, and then I started detecting, and my very first coin was 170 years old. It was 1849. That's pretty cool.
That is
so
pretty cool.
It sort of cements your research that you've done the right thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, let's start talking about some of your finds. Boy, I see you find a lot of old coins, a lot of old silver, but also a lot of old great artifacts and relics. And it's really cool to watch. For those of you who aren't familiar, make sure there's a link down below to Neil's channel on YouTube, Diggers Down Under, the Comic Chef. You need to go on there, check it out. If you're not familiar, please go watch his videos, and you'll see what I mean about his video style. It's very smooth. He gets right in there on the find. He takes some great pictures of it. He kind of shows it after it's all cleaned up, and it's a really great production. But hey, what somebody here wanted to know, Papa Spin wanted to know what's your oldest and nicest coin.
My oldest and nicest coin,
Yep.
I think would be, because Australia doesn't have a great deal of history. We're only basically settled 130 years ago. Yet I'm finding coins. 230 years ago. But I'm finding coins that are actually that age. And what people don't necessarily realize too, we have decimal coins we've used for 52 years, pre-decimals 56 years, and before that we used proclamation coins here in Australia, which go back hundreds of years, centuries. We use them for 130 years. And that's really cool. And so some of the oldest and nicest coins there are they're King George III, which is around 1806. And I'm pretty stoked with those coins.
Yeah.
They're proclamation coins. You can't get much older in Australia. But that being said, we find, which I'm not wearing at the minute, I normally do, Bull Ant and I find a lot of Chinese coins, and they date back 4 centuries. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
easy. Yeah, hundreds and hundreds of years, back to the 1600s. Considering Australia's only 230 years old, that's pretty neat. So that's traveled around the world, gone by horse in leather purses and arrived at these sites. They've worked the ground and worked it hard, dropped their coins, and we're finding them hundreds of years later. Like, that's pretty cool.
That is really cool. And it's just amazing. I love the Chinese coins, or the Japanese coins or the Korean coins. They're just so cool. As a matter of fact, I have a local coin shop here in town, and I actually went and bought a lot of them. They had a lot in an auction, and I bought a lot of them just because they're so cool. I like the way they look. And I'm probably going to give some of those away there in the future, but they look great. And I really wish I could find one in the wild someday. We had a lot of railroad that came through here, and they had immigrant Chinese workers. Look at that.
Yeah, that's one there.
Here, hold on. Let me pop you up a little larger there. Let me see that one again. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. Have you been able to date any of them? I know that a lot of them.
I learned how to read Chinese, just not all Chinese, just to read dates and mint marks and all that, so I can read the coins. So these are averaging 1661.
That's awesome.
Yeah, from the Qing dynasty.
And aren't the ones with larger square holes in the middle older than the ones with smaller square holes, or do I have that backwards?
Yeah, no, not. Yeah, you're generally right. And but the larger they are, it's the different denomination. So there's 1,000 of these to an ounce of silver. And so that's how the taxes worked for the Chinese. So they had to get 1,000 of these to pay their debt for taxes, which worked in silver. So there's 1,000. So that's why people don't think they're a lot of money, because you need a lot of them to make up an ounce. But they're still cool. And believe it or not, there's some pretty rare dates. So some of them can go really, really well. This one here, it's got 5 holes in it because it was used as a button. Isn't that cool?
Oh, no kidding.
So there's this gentleman, he actually wore his money to keep his clothes on. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that is neat.
He lost a button and lost his money. And so with the old coins, that's they did put a hole in them, and then you could string them together so you could have a lot of them together, and you could wear that as a necklace or as a bracelet, which is especially done in the Celtic times. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. What would you say is your absolute oldest coin? Dirt Therapy Down Under would like to know.
As in found or have? Because I have coins that are older than as old as I was, like 2,888 years old. I have cowrie coins, gold cowrie coins and stuff like that, because I've been collecting as well as detecting since I was a young boy. So my oldest coins are nearly 3,000 years old.
What about found?
But found the oldest coins are just a few hundred years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about relics? Have you? What's your proudest relic? Do you think? What's the one that makes you kind of step back and go, "Wow, that is really cool"?
Yeah, actually, I have got one that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see it. Do you have it with you?
If you want to have a talk for a second, I'll ask you a question.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, everybody, let me tell you something. While I'm talking to Neil, and you're in the chat there, feel free to answer the questions I asked Neil in the chat. Just go ahead and answer the questions I asked him in the chat room. It'll start a conversation. Like for right now, everyone in chat, let me hear from you. What kind of detector do you swing? This is going to start a detector where I know it, but keep it clean. But let me know what kind of detectors you guys swing there in chat. And if you're just joining us, I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt. And this is Digger Spotlight, and I'm on with Neil Colston, Diggers Down Under, and the comic chef from Victoria, Australia. And we're having a great time talking to him and learning a lot from him today. So glad you joined me. Glad to keep those questions coming. I'm seeing them come through. I'll get to them as I can get to them. What is that, Neil? Hold on, let me pull up your big screen here. Oh.
They'll get it in there.
Oh my goodness!
So this is probably my favorite relic. It's a Martini Henry drop block lever action rifle, and I found this in 2004 metal detecting. And I actually found it 21.5 meters from where Ned Kelly was shot by the police 28 times.
Oh my goodness!
And taken and hung in the Melbourne jail. And this is a police rifle that was dropped in the creek.
And where was it? Was it really deep under the mud, or was it partially exposed?
The creek it wasn't exposed, but the creek was pretty warm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a discovery!
Pretty cool. So you can see, she's seized open, so it's like they're not completely sure. I took it into the police and had it verified, and had the provenance that written up, and they think that it may be even one of the rifles that Ned Kelly used in the shootout against the police, because he stole one for the suit of armor that he created, the 4 suits of armor, and they tested one of these rifles on the armor to see how it would go before they actually did the shootout for the last stand. And it's believed that, it's been fired, breech left open, out of bullets, and dropped. And you see it's still ready to go.
Wow. I was going to ask you if there was a round in the chamber. But no,
that's a round there. I put a round on there to show you how big they were. They're as thick as your thumb.
Oh my goodness, like a cigar.
Yes, yeah. And there's the information I put on it. And this has been in the museum with Ned Kelly's sash and the prison cell and all that sort of stuff for the last 10 years. I just pulled it out for a while because I can.
That's just amazing. How amazing is that? That is amazing.
That's pretty cool. So, although it doesn't work, it's historical, Australian heritage.
Yeah, that's definitely one to hang on to. Do you ever come upon, I don't know how silly a question this is, and I apologize if it is. I just don't know enough about Australia, which I'm happy to talk to you about tonight, so it's great. But did the Aboriginal folk ever mess with metal much? And if so, have you ever found any artifacts associated with them?
No, they didn't. No, sadly they didn't.
Yeah. So I was looking through here, and it looks like, where was it at? Yeah, that's a good question. Jim from Coils of Soil wants to know, have you ever had any close calls with some of the nasty snakes out there? Well, Jim, you missed the opening of the show. I showed one nasty in it run, but why don't you talk about that particular one, Neil, and then any others that you had?
Yeah, so there's plenty of them. Come up across the snakes in Australia quite often. I think we have 160 different species of deadly snakes in Australia. And Yeah, and lots of spiders and everything else that wants to kill you. Hence the jokes about the Australian bush wants to kill you. And so yeah, this snake, yeah, I try to do some flowing videos with the GoPro, which I don't use as much so more. And on this particular day, yeah, just some inside scenes, and came up on this brown snake. Oh, they start your heart because they're 45 times more deadly than a rattlesnake. So they're not something you want to get bitten by. But I was lucky that the snake had just come out of hibernation, and what actually showed that off straight away was the fact that she went straight down a hole. So that's good, because normally they'll hunt you down.
Great. Well, I was going to come visit you, Neil, but you know what? I think I'll just chat with you over the internet.
You're all right, mate. I'll go all Crocodile Dundee on him. It's all right.
That's all right. So was that your closest encounter, or have you had any others that got a little meaner?
Yeah, no, there's been a few, and I got a whack on the shoulder once from a brown snake up on a tree branch, and he didn't get through, but he certainly, like, I got a whack, and like something's hit me on the shoulder, trying to figure out what's going on, and way.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding?
So I just sort of got too close to the branch, and he had to go. But anyway.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. How about other animals? Any other run-ins with any other animals out there?
I got chased by a wild boar once. That was pretty funny. I ended up in the river.
Oh, they can be mean, can't they?
It's the safest place to be.
Except for when the crocs come.
There's no crocs down here. That'd really wreck your day, wouldn't it? You'd try to get away from a boar and you get eaten by a croc. I mean, that's unfair.
Maybe they're working. Maybe they're working together.
Yeah, I've been working on the old getting the detector ready so I can jam those jaws open. You know.
Perfect. Well, that CTX is big enough. That's a pretty big machine. Do you have it there? Can you grab that CTX?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Impressive machine. I've seen some people swing it. Boy, that's a pretty big coil you got on that thing.
Yes, that's a 17. So, yeah, the 17 is fantastic.
Do you have to wear a sling for that, or are you just?
Of course you can. Yeah, you can wear a sling, but you know, the first time I use it, because the biggest complaint, of course, is they're heavy.
Yeah.
But I like to feel quality, and so the weight doesn't bother me at all. And after the first couple of times of swinging, you'll actually develop the muscles that you need to use it regardless.
Yeah. Is that the camera you film with right there, clipped onto your machine?
This is a widescreen for 4K camera for Ricoh, and so that's backup. That's my backup GoPro per se, and the normal GoPros plus the other 4K cameras. So
yeah,
but just for different shots, for different effects.
Awesome.
And it's just like, this is how I picked up the snake, because having a camera set up for catching the offset type views.
Right. I'm surprised you hung in there. I would have dropped that thing and been gone probably. But like you said, it probably would have hunted me down and got me anyway. So maybe I should stay and defend myself.
I would have jumped in there for you, mate.
All right. Well, okay. I'll come visit then. But hey, All Metal Mike asked a pretty good question a little while back. He said, in your 40 years of detecting, when did you feel like you really became really good at detecting? Did it take you a year, 5 years into it? Does it change every time you get a new detector? How does that work?
I find that I learn something pretty much every time I go out. So I get better every time I go out. So just the constant repetition and getting into there and hunting, and like, you'll learn new VDIs. When I first started, per se, when the VDI started coming out, I carried a little black book, and then I preloaded myself. So I went around the house and opened the safes, and I got all my old coins and relics out, and I scanned them all over the detector on the front lawn, and I put them into the little black book, basically preloading. So I would put silvers in their categories and the 50%ers and the pennies and so forth. Grab your ring off your finger, grab the wife's ring, grab every little bit and bob that you've got, and you run it over, preload yourself. So when you get out there, you pretty much got a good idea what you're going for. But then when you get a new VDI reading, put that in your book too. But after a while, it all stays up here.
Yeah.
And that
is cool.
You just get better and better at it.
Yeah.
Learn new things, and I can hunt by sound. Bull out and I can hunt by sound. So we don't need to actually look at the machine anymore. We can just hear.
Yeah.
And and I've got my own program that I've created for the CDX, and I call it fast mode, and it just tells me basically just by sound. It's really cool. I wish I could just share it to you all. I'd love to, but through Exchange 2, it doesn't allow you to share that. So I can only do through an email. If anybody wants to email me, I'll tell them basically what settings to put on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a good question for you, Neil, but it's also a great question for the chat room, and I want you all to try to answer it in the chat room. This comes from HD Shovel Ed, and he asks, what's the craziest relic that you found where you were like, how in the heck did this get here? Besides the rifle, because that would have been like that for me too. But you know those moments where you're like, what is this doing here?
Yeah. Well, I have actually had some funny situations where I'm like digging up a coin and I've pulled out some really fantastic bottles, and that's really cool. And I love it when you're with somebody and they go, "What did that come up as?" Silica, buddy. It's silica. It's not the target. No. But anyway, then you get the coin. But yeah, fine. Our opium bottles and stuff like that, I've found them quite a few times from back when people were doing the opium back hundreds of years ago, and they've actually dropped them with their coins. And so other things I found down about 2 feet, because of course this coil goes so much deeper than the standard coil. I found a really weird lever. I had no idea what it was off. Really good quality, like stainless, well, not stainless, but it's a really good quality, like silver looking lever, and it just didn't make any sense.
Gosh. Not at all. How about you in the chat room? What's your, oh my gosh, what's this doing here? Fine, make sure you put it in the chat room. Yeah, that is awesome. That's fun too when you're just like, what's going on? What you answered though brought up another question for me. Do you get into the other? I call them sister hobbies that kind of go along with metal detecting. Like, have you gone specifically to go bottle digging? Have you specifically done any magnet fishing or any kind of side hobbies like that?
Yes, for sure. So I found 4 really neat bottle dumps in the last couple of weeks. But it is the middle of summer here now, and so I'll be waiting till winter here in Australia so I can go and hit those, because you need the ground to be a lot softer so you don't damage the glass. Because once a bottle's got a crack or a chip in it, you're really decreasing its value, let alone everything else. So I love it. Certainly do it. I found some really interesting bottles are going to be coming up out of these really old sites. So some of the fragments I found are a few hundred years old, so I'm looking forward to finding some complete pieces.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool. And magnet fishing, love the magnet fishing. We haven't got a massive amount of history here in Australia. So more often than not, I'm likely to pull out, which I do, is push bikes, and as in bicycles, and maybe illegal weapons. But one particular item I did pick up was a boat.
A what?
I got a boat. I actually got a boat because I just stuck and everything, and it kind of wanted to move. And anyway, I ended it. I got in there, and because it was only like 3 feet or so deep, 4 feet deep, and it was a boat.
like a rowboat.
Like a rowboat, but a big one, a fishing boat.
No.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was amazing, and it just stuck onto this big hunk of metal of iron, and it just didn't want to let go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I found a boat. Caught myself a boat.
Yeah, lucky there was no one in it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. How have you ever found 5280 Adventures wants to know? Have you ever found a U.S. coin over there in Australia?
Oh gosh, yes, all the time.
Yeah.
I find Bullant and I find European coins all the time. Bullant found a Palestine coin 1927 on our last hunt. I find some places, big coin spills of American coins.
Yeah.
And because what people don't necessarily realize, like during the wars, that the Second World War, we sent 2 million Aussies over onto the European theatre of war. And believe it or not, 2 million awesome Americans came to Australia to protect our country while our boys were gone. It's history.
Yeah. Do you find many military items, relics, medals, and such like that?
Yeah. I found 2 victory medals last week, and two to commemorative medals and tokens, and a couple of tokens just in the last week. So you find a lot, the collar badges and the flash badges, buttons, of course, from all over, for everything from the Australian to, I found the Italian Medical Corps buttons, you know, the paramedics back in the day. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. American buttons, definitely.
Yeah. Have you ever found any items where you've actually been able to return an item to maybe a family member or somebody that was associated with it? Like made that connection?
Dog tags have been good because dog tags have the details. So Boy and I, we found them being able to contact the families and get them back to a loved one, because usually, of course, sadly, that person has passed, but we return those particular items back to the loved ones. So I know it's closure.
That's got to feel great on both sides, you know?
Feel great.
On both sides, yeah. Hats off to you. That's great.
It's a very rewarding hobby.
It is. It is. You know, I see a lot of people that I meet when I'm talking, either when I'm door knocking or I'm just meeting them, talking to them. Everyone really has an interest in it. It's one of those things like they don't really think about until you're there in their face, bringing it up to them, and then they all seem to have a pretty good interest in it. It definitely is a great hobby.
That it is.
This goes back to your detectors, but do you remember what your first detector, Grody Gold Prospecting wants to know, do you remember what your very first detector was? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, I did touch on it because I worked all summer for my very first machine, but it didn't have a name. It didn't have a name on it. It was red.
Neil's red detector.
Yeah, Neil's red detector, and it was very old school, of course. We're talking back in about 1979, and it just beeped.
One,
so you dug everything.
One switch, on and off.
Yeah, that was it. And I dug everything. It was the only machine I could get, but I was so keen to get in on it. That was it. But all machines back then were just beep beep. It's the way they were. Now they have full discrimination. You can turn everything off on the CDX and you can just put on one target if that's all you want to find. You won't find anything else, just that one target.
You're right.
You know, because on this, I have, with the fast mode, I have ring pulls, beer lids, nails, bits of tin, iron, it's all turned off on fast mode. So you can get out there and just go and detect, and you'll just pick up the coins and the rings and stuff. That's all you'll find.
Yeah. It's got pretty good separation, that machine.
Yeah. People say that it doesn't. Well, some say that it doesn't, but it does.
Yeah.
That's fine. And even when you get a target, it'll pick out the strongest target, and it's because it's not quite as fast as, say, the Equinox, the Nox. But you'll dig that target. Always check your plug. You're going to dig them all anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to get what you're after.
Right.
And so she's an all-round fantastic machine.
Yeah, I've never been around one, but I've seen videos with them and such, and looks like a great machine.
Yeah.
Couple people asked us. Go ahead, yeah.
What do you use, buddy?
Right now I'm swinging a Technetics T2 Classic. It's a Technetics machine, VLF, and then I got a Technetics Patriot, which is basically a Fisher F70. And I've got another little small bounty hunter that I started with that I still have around. Good. But that's it, yeah.
Good.
Kind of tied to those Technetics machines for right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, this the T2's got real high iron range to it, so it's more of a relic machine, and the F70 or the Patriot is more of a larger high end to its VDI range, and it's more of a silver hunter. So I bring them both out with me wherever we're at, depending on where we're going, Yeah, I love it. So what's your favorite area what's your favorite type of hunting? Do you always go looking for relics and coins, or do you ever just go looking for coins, or do you ever just go looking for relics? And if you do, which one of those is your favorite?
Relics and coins, definitely relics and coins all the time. Coins would be my favorite, although some relics really do jump out. Bull Ant found a beautiful snake buckle on our last hunt, and that's probably been shown. And I mean, these particular buckles, they were used in all different facets around everything in like history, but this particular design dates back to the 1600s, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And for Australia, I mean, that's excellent.
Yeah.
So somebody's carried this as an heirloom, whatever, and for holding up their strides, and they've lost it again for us to find hundreds of years later. So, yeah, coins and relics probably at the same time.
Yeah. What do you do? You kind of touched on this a little earlier. All Metal Mike wants to know, what do you do with 40 years of finds? I know you have to have like warehouses back there. You talked about you had some places you put them, but do you actually have a relic room, or just have your safes in your place where you put them?
Yeah, my house is my relic room.
Excellent. Excellent.
They're everywhere. They're all over the place, but the like precious coins and gold and things like that, of course, I've got 5 safes. And one's a vault. That's massive.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they're pretty packed up in there. There's thousands and thousands. And but I do nowadays, because, you know, we're not getting any younger, I give a lot of things back to people too. And because, you know, we could go out and we could play golf and walk, you know, a couple of Ks around the field, but I'd much rather swing a metal detector. It's much more rewarding.
Right. I bet when people come over and visit, it's a big source of topic of discussion when they walk into your house and see all these things, right?
Yeah, it does. It makes for great conversation. And other little, like, this is pretty cool. Like, this is the old pipes. Isn't that cool, from the 1600s? Yeah, they're pretty sweet. But here's something I picked up, was a pipe case.
Oh, that's a case?
That's a case. So all hand carved.
Oh my goodness! Look at that.
Like, yeah, just sink your pipe in there. Yeah, see, because they're made of clay, so you don't break them. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Well, where'd you find that pipe? Was it just in the mud? Were you doing some kind of mud larking or something, or was that more in the hole with something else?
No, actually, I had a dear friend's brother. He just recently passed away, and he was a treasure hunter and that as well. And so his brother and I talked, and he gave me his life's collection. And so it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. It was actually a fellow detectorist and treasure hunter's part of his collection. And he's not with us now, but I'm going to carry it on and keep on sharing.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great story. Yeah, this hobby, boy, I tell you, great
Yeah.
people, great people.
Here's an interesting little relic I found. That's a matchbox case. You put it around your matchbox.
A metal matchbox case, just to give it some flair, huh?
Yeah, just to give it some flair. But it's actually an advertising piece from where I found the Ned Kelly gun. It's an advertising piece for the local shop. And if you need to call them, their phone number is 4.
That's it, huh? 4, yeah.
4. I think that's pretty cool. So it's got it on their phone number, 4.
That's pretty unique. I don't think I've ever seen one of those found in all the videos. I watch a lot of videos, and I've never seen one of those found. That's pretty cool.
That is, yep. Yeah, it has the storekeeper's name, Mr. Manley Grocer, storekeeper of Glenrowan. So, yeah, phone number 4.
Phone number 4.
Sells clothes and so forth. So it's a little advertising piece. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, smart too, back in the day. Yeah, that was real smart. Everyone probably was always reaching for him, 5280 Adventures and G-Man both had similar questions. They wanted to know, talk about your research a little bit. How do you do your research, and what's your favorite app for doing research, if you care to talk about it?
Yeah, so, yeah, there's a lot of old map sites and so forth you can find on the net. Google Maps is a fantastic tool, and do some research with that. There are quite a few. I don't know whether I want to give them all away, but yeah. But they're definitely, there's some fantastic tools on the net that'll give you everything you need to know. Even with Google Maps, if you're over in, I'm not sure about the US, but definitely in the UK, you can click on the top of the screen and you can change the time period. The old, like what's left of the Roman trails and the old sites and so forth, and that could give you a really good idea on where you're going to go.
Yeah. Google Earth used to have a feature like that, a history feature like that, a while back, at least here in the States, and they did away with the feature from what I understand. And there may be some old versions around that you can still get that have that feature on it, but I thought they had done away with that feature. But boy, it sure was cool, because just a swipe of a mouse, you could get back and see what was going on, depending on what the data that was available,
Mm-hmm.
Papa Spin, Papa Stim. Oh, go ahead. Were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and no, you're right. You're right. And I work as being a chef. I work with a lot of elderly people too from time to time. I respect them dearly, and you talk to them, and it's amazing once they hear you're a treasure hunter, and a detectorist. That they get it over that. They get so excited, and they tell me so many old places that used to be, because that's what I'm after. They used to be. It gets me so excited to go and hunt an old church site. I go there, and of course it's just a paddock, but there was once this big cathedral or something there, and it's not necessarily been per se destroyed. It's got really old, and everything's been recycled, and it's all gone. And it just makes it so easy for detecting now, of course. And the general detector is driving down the road, doesn't know that it's there. It's just a paddock. But we do the research to find out where these places were. And then we just go, we get permission from the farmers, from the owners of the property. And hence they don't mind us digging up in their paddocks out in the fields. And of course, we leave everything exactly how we found it, and we share our relics and finds with them. And it's just great just to be walking out in the field and just have this beautiful, 1243 tone just scream out at you out of the ground in the middle of the field, and it's a foot down. You just go, wow. And you just know there's a big silver down there waiting for you to dig it up.
Goodness, yeah. You got me itching to get out there, man. I'm telling you, this weather's got us all socked in. We haven't been able to do too much. So I hear stories like that. That is detecting right there. You've done the research. You're there in some paddock. You get that signal response, and you're like, oh my gosh, if this is what I think it is, everything is culminated into this moment. And then
exactly. Yeah,
awesome.
I suppose that's it. It's the precipice on all your research.
Yeah.
And you get there, and you just know, wait, yep, that's going to happen.
Hey, Papa Spin wants to know what's public opinion like of metal detectors down under there.
It's pretty much either way, because you get that. So a lot of people love it. They love the whole thing. But of course, you do get people who feel the other way. Mostly, I suppose, when you get more into the townships, the holes get smaller because people just don't like people digging holes, in the public parks now, because that's where a lot of detectorists go.
Yeah.
And like Bull-Out and I don't even bother, because in the public parks, it's where you go down to a screwdriver per se. You've got to go really small, and you can only dig really tiny holes, and you're only getting modern coins and so forth. Because you can't just go into a beautiful public park. There's no signs here in Australia.
Yeah.
But you just can't go in there with a shovel and start digging holes.
No.
That's just not right. So common sense tells you you're going to get yourself into a bit of strife. And so public opinion, the further away from town, the bigger the holes. I mean, that's where, of course, where you get into the bottle digging and digging for gold, where you're digging with a gold detector with a 7000, you're going to dig a hole that could be a meter deep.
Yeah. Wow.
You can't do that in town.
You can't. Jim from Coils to the Soil wants to know, have you ever been out hunting with other fellow YouTubers? Have you been out with Jim? Been out with Jim, MD Melbourne?
Jim, well, we're going to go out this Christmas. He wasn't able to make it. He had to get back to work. But we're definitely got a rain check on that. We'll be going out soon. Coin Detector, I've done a lot of detecting with him. And Troy, Coin Detector and Troy, you can check them out. And there's a few other guys. Who else was there? But a few. But and some boys from up Sydney ways and Bathurst. There's some great guys who come out and hunt. And of course, anybody's more than welcome to tag along. On any of these formats, you'll be able to get in contact with me. And if you're in Australia, you're down this way, I'll throw you a room. Let's go for a hunt.
Well, I'd love to come visit sometime, and I'm deadly serious about that. Absolutely. Hey everyone, check out the screen. This is a Weekly Dirt t-shirt. I think we're going to give one of these away. We're getting close to being on for an hour right now, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this up there. A Weekly Dirt t-shirt. If you don't know about my show, it's every Sunday. It's the Weekly Dirt. I feature all kinds of other metal detecting channels and give you kind of an update of what's going on. But why don't we I'm going to let you say go, so no one go yet. We're going to pick a number between 1 and 100. Neil and I have pre-selected a number for that. And when Neil says go, you guys go ahead and start typing in numbers from 1 to 100. And one of you lucky ones will be selected for the t-shirt win if you pick the right number. So Neil, whenever you're ready.
Ready, set, go!
Okay, a little bit of a delay, and then it's going to explode on us. Tony, help me if you would. Help me look for that number. We've kind of already shared the number with him. and we'll see how fast we can get to it tonight. Whoa, here they go. Okay, let me look for it here. I'll scroll back up. Stop, stop. I already see somebody that has it. It usually goes pretty quick, and it sure did this time.
Yeah, there we go.
Do you see one?
Missouri Mike.
Yeah, let's see here. Where'd it go? Now I lost it. Yeah, I see Missouri Mike as the first one. The number was 37.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Jim Steele. We got to check Jim Steele.
Hold on, let me go back up. Oh, you're right. Jim Steele. Mike, sorry, Missouri Mike. Apologize about that. You are right. Jim Steele was much earlier and selected that 37. Awesome. Well, Jim Steele, I'll tell you, if you would like to send me an email, or you can either leave me a comment down below on how to get a hold of you on email, or send me an email at dk@adventuresindirt.com, and I'll ask my moderator Tony to go ahead and put up my email address down there, so he'll post it here in the chat. If you send me an email, give me your address, give me your shirt size, and I'll get one of those off to you as quick as I can. That's awesome. I don't stock shirts. I actually send it out to be custom made every time it's ordered. So they'll source that for me. I have a company that sources those for me. So it'd probably take a couple weeks to get to you. So excellent. Congratulations, Jim Steele. Great job, buddy. Great job.
Good on you, Jim.
Yeah. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for putting that out there. And sorry, Missouri Mike. Sorry about that. Sorry getting your hopes up there, buddy. But yeah, hey everyone, thanks for showing up tonight. It's been a good chat with Neil. Let me know your final questions. Be putting your questions down there. I like to keep these two within an hour. We've already been on for an hour, so we're going to start wrapping it up. But final questions for Neil. And Neil, anything you want to share with us as far as words of wisdom for us metal detectorists out there?
Yeah, words of wisdom: get out more often.
Yeah,
get out there. Because the best and most amazing treasure is probably just under your feet.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Do some exploring.
Let me tell you all a little bit about what Neil's got going on. So he's got his YouTube channel. That link is down below. You can get to it by clicking on it. For his Diggers Down Under YouTube channel, it's really great. Like I said, you really got to go check out his videos if you're not familiar. But he's also got a couple of Facebook groups that he's involved in. One I want to bring up here. This is Bleeps R Us. Tell us a little bit about Bleeps R Us.
Yeah, so Bleeps R Us, that was originally founded in the UK and European, and a good friend, he is a soldier and he had to go into battle. So it was confidential, and so I took over the channel for him. And so, yeah, for a good friend. But yeah, it's a fun, friendly channel. Anything detecting, anything you like to share, videos, your finds, photos, chats, any questions, just jump on there and share away. It's a family-friendly PG channel.
Yeah. It's a public group, yeah, and the link to that's down below in the description as well. So if you guys want to get to that Facebook group, the link is down below. Just click on it. It'll take you right on over there. The second one he's involved in is one called Metal Detecting the Treasure Hunters.
Yeah, Metal Detecting the Treasure Hunters, that was my channel, my original channel. And again, it's the similar thing, but that was originally based here in Australia.
Yeah. And if you see that cover art there, boy, there's tons of coins there. That's what Neil finds, I'm telling you. He's always on the goods. So if you like that picture, what you're looking at right now, definitely get over there and watch his videos.
That picture is of one hunt.
One hunt.
One hunt.
I would love to have one of those coins on one hunt. Wow, good on you, man. That's awesome. That is great. Well, hey, look, it's been a lot of fun having you on. Let me check to see if there's any more final questions up here. No, everyone seems to be having a great time with you and appreciating you being on, as I do. Neil, I want to thank you very much. You've been a gracious guest to come on and spend your time. You could be out detecting right now. Instead, you're talking to me in the United States from your cozy home there. So
talking to our awesome friends out there, those fantastic detectorists. We love you all. You're fantastic.
Yeah.
Great people. Absolutely great people. I'm going to go for a hunt shortly, but this is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being on. You've been a great guest. Why don't you hang on here for just a little bit? I'm going to kind of close things down, but if you hang on, I'll talk to you off screen here in a little bit. So give me just a second.
My pleasure. See you all soon.
Everyone, Neil Colston, Diggers Down Under, the comic chef. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you being on.
Thank you.
Awesome. Wasn't that awesome? Neil's a great guy, great detectorist. He is a great ambassador to our hobby. I'll tell you, there's nobody better. His videos always have touched me. When I watched his videos, they've always kind of spoke to me, because you can really get an idea of how passionate he is about the hobby. And when you watch his videos, you get a great idea on how he's doing it right. He's getting permissions. He's filling his holes. He's making sure that public opinion that was asked about earlier stays as high as possible for future generations, so that we can all enjoy this hobby that we love of treasure hunting. But yeah, just a great guest. I was so honored to have him on, and he's my first international guest, and it worked like a charm, and I was really happy to have him on, and I'm glad it did. Everyone, for you guys sticking out with me and watching the shows and being fans of the Digger Spotlight series, if you have any suggestions on who I should have on as a guest, I'm always listening. Leave them down below. I've got some great guests lined up. I've got some more international guests coming from the UK. I've got some great local US guests coming up, some great channels, other people that are out in other hobbies that surround metal detecting. I've just got a great year of guests lined up for you, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. So feel free to just stay tuned to my channel. If you're not a subscriber and you like this, hit that subscribe button. And if you're not a fan of the Weekly Dirt, I hope to see you this Sunday at 3 p.m. Mountain when I release my newest episode of the Weekly Dirt. I'm sure you will like it. So, hey, for my moderator, Tony, 5280 Adventures, thank you very much. I don't know if I saw Mike in here tonight, but if M.A. Lyman's on, my other moderator, I want to say, hey, thank you so much. Swing for the Ring, good to see you. You guys, thanks for your questions. Great questions tonight. Really helped the interview go well. And I want to wish you all, if you have weather and you can get out there and dig, hey, get out there and dig. I wish you all a ton of luck. Have yourself a great week. I'm DK with Adventures in Dirt, signing off, and I'll catch you all later. Have a great night. This is going to play for about 2 minutes, so wrap up your chats. You still got about 2 minutes of the stream. See y'all later.